Okay, this video is called Plan to Hit £2 million Revenue in 2018. Reason I'm doing this is, well, it's following off the back of a couple of meetings, people trying to get you guys looking at things a little bit differently. Last year I hit £1 million revenue. I had two options. One was either to look at how I could improve marginally, like by 10, 15, 20%. Other option is to literally just look at the bigger picture. So how can I double my revenue in a year? When you look at increasing your target by something like double, what generally happens is you start having to think outside the box. You start having to look at really big changes you're going to have to make in order to do that. The general premise is if you make huge changes, you're going to get a huge impact. If you make small little changes, you will end up getting exactly what you were planning for in the end. So it's not really significant. Even if you miss your target, if you doubled your revenue target and put this huge plan in place, even if you missed it by 30-40%, you're way beyond where you would be by just making those small adjustments. So the whole aim of this is really to look at what you guys can be doing on a daily basis to ensure that you're maximizing revenue, you're earning as much, you're bringing in as much revenue for the company as possible, you're earning as much commission. Simple as that. So think different, think outside the box. Like I said, if you do the same thing, you expect different results. I think it's Einstein that talks about the fact that, I think that's classified as insanity. So my plan was basically to double personal revenue, and the plan I put in action was based on two things. One was a load of ideas, how like some of them are crazy ideas, some of them are just improvement ideas that I can put in place in order to improve. And the second is actually putting it in your default diary, so you're definitely doing this on a regular basis. So where are we? Need to think big. Right, I'm just going to run through some of these ideas. Some of these will work for you, some of these might not work for you. But the thing is, if you keep thinking about, are they actually going to have an impact on my revenue, and you do them, you follow them, that's a big thing. Right, so the first thing I looked at is how many symposiums I sold last year, how many adverts, how many articles, how many e-blasts. I looked at my 2017 revenue and I thought, where are the big opportunities? What can I consciously do or proactively do in order to start improving this? First thing is to work on the 5 ways. Now, if anyone doesn't know what the 5 ways is, very straightforward. It's a formula for looking at all the different parts of a sale or parts of a business. Now, if you increase all of these by a small percentage, the cumulative effect at the end of it is massive. So if you look at the 5 ways, the 5 things are leads, conversions, number of transactions, average sales value, and margin. If you increase all of these, so your number of leads, your number of conversions, your number of transactions, etc., by just 10%, I believe the cumulative effect is over 60%. Now let that sink in for a minute. If you did just that, so you improved each of those 5 elements, and you did £1 million last year, each of those elements by improved by 10%, you'd end up with 1.6 million in theory. So think about that, and that's, that'll be another video to actually go into, but that's just one small change. Second thing I thought of was clients. How can I have more regular regular contact with my clients? First thing that jumped to mind was client visits. So let's start setting up client visits. Let me go and see my clients. Which of them are in the UK? Which of them can I take out to lunch? The more face-to-face contacts I have with them, ideally, the more business it's going to lead to. It's as simple as that. Third thing, weekly lunch with someone in the industry. Now, this is not just someone random in the industry, or it's someone you think is going to be able to help you or help the company. Ideally, help both. Who can I meet? Who do I know who's from an advertising agency in London? Who do I know who's from the pharmaceutical industry in London? These are quick, easy wins. I can meet them, pick their brains, teach them something. They can teach me something. We can do business together. It's as simple as that. The third part of this is what I call a power base. It's called, it's basically creating a list of useful contacts across not just the pharmaceutical or the publishing industry, but across the industry, across all industries, somewhere that there's a benefit for you to be in contact with them. Create a list and get into the habit of meeting up with these people and picking their brains on a regular basis. Look for mentors, look for cooperation partners, look for potential recruits for the company. There's a financial reward if you bring in more people from the company. There's a simple financial reward is a bonus for bringing someone in. But if you think about the bigger picture, if you help bring in salespeople, if you help bring in client services people, the faster we do that, the faster EMG grows and EMJ grows, the quicker there are opportunities for you. The fourth major thing, attend more congresses, so much more face-to-face. So I looked at which congresses there are in the UK, which ones do I want to attend, which ones am I going to attend in Europe, what am I actually looking to get out of these congresses when I do attend, what's my strategy, what's my goal. It's pointless going to these things unless we know why we're going and what we're actually going to get out. So make sure you have that clear in your mind. While I'm in that city, can I see other clients who are in the city at the same time? Fifth thing, I'm starting to, and I have been looking at this year, a new onboarding process for new clients. So your client comes in, what happens next? They're passed as client services, we look at growing them, yeah, that's great. But is it processed? Is it specifically looking at driving as much revenue as possible? So a couple of things I was looking at is sending them a book straight away. Welcome to EMJ. We want you to be the best possible person, best possible version of you can be. Here's a book which represents one of the EMJ values. Hopefully this helps you achieve that. If not, we'll send you another one. If not, we'll send you a link to a podcast. What can you send them to show that you're actually genuinely interested in helping them get better? If you help them get better, if you help them get promoted, one, that matches the ethos of the company, but how much value will the client see, not just in you, but also in EMJ as a whole, if you're helping them actually get a promotion? In addition, from a pure financial perspective, what it means is you've got access then to a higher level of revenue from that client, bigger prospects, as in dealing with someone who's actually got a better job title generally means they have more budget. More budget means more potential opportunities with you, more revenue for the company, more commission for you, more of your goals hit, yada, yada, yada. Research immediate upsell opportunities. Now, we're all booking clients in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 products at a time. We're not booking them in as half as much as we could do. There's huge growth opportunities across all our clients, from the Pfizers and the GlaxoSmith clients and the AbbVies, all the way down to the smaller, more boutique companies where you're pitching the CEO for a half-page advert. They want to grow, they want to develop, they want to be able to basically reach the audience that we have access to. So never think for 1 second that if just because you've booked in one person at one isolated incident during the year, there's not growth opportunities there. Right, the sixth thing, I looked at visual exhibitor lists with client penetration. So picture your exhibitor lists, picture your who's on your list, who's on your possible list. Remember, we don't have to just pitch those companies on our exhibitor list, they're just the hotter leads. But think about it from a visual perspective. If you've got the list in front of you every single day and you're marking them off, you have your own key, you have your own formula as to which ones you've spoken to, which ones you've pitched, which ones you've said no. If you're doing this on a day-to-day basis anyway, what it means is that visually is going to remind you where the gaps are, where the opportunities are, where you're missing, so that you can sort of program your mind to be picking up on them as quick as possible. That works the same for a symposium list for you senior guys. That's your real bread and butter. There's huge amounts of money to be made from the symposium clients, as there is the other clients. But look at the symposium lists, have them ticked off, have a system in place so that you're constantly, actively going back through those leads to ensure that you're pitching them at the right time, but also you're making sure you're actually giving each of those companies a fair crack. It's not just pitching one person you think is the decision maker. It's making sure you pitch all stakeholders in that particular process in Europe, all stakeholders in that process in Europe, in the US, making sure that there might be a UK team who could buy through you. Do not limit your options. The more you limit your options, the more you're going to miss out on opportunities. There's cherry picking. Now that works different from one company to another. I wouldn't advise this unless you'd been working in your unit for a particular amount of time. We're going to get to a point where a lot of you guys have 1 or 2 companies and you're generating 1, 2, 3, 4 million pound a year basically off the back of those companies, because the level of work we're doing with these companies is so much higher than our competitors. The companies just continue to work with us. You have great relationships with the clients. Before we get to there, obviously when you start, keep it broad. Pitch everyone and anyone at the right time. When you start coming through and you learn your industry a bit better, your business unit, remember you're the CEO of your business unit. When you learn your business unit a bit better, you can then start to cherry picking accounts. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean looking at where you think it's most beneficial for you to spend your time. If you have a great relationship with 3 or 4 companies at a particular congress, make sure you hit them. Make sure you hit them, and you hit them hard. You hit them first. It may turn out that you're not giving enough time to the rest of your business unit. If that's the case and you're still generating 1 to 2 million, what I'd recommend you do, or what will happen, is we'll be using someone else on that business unit to make sure that they're going through those accounts. So look at cherry picking once you've settled in. Touch points is crucial. Making sure that we're in constant communication with these clients, but not just constantly asking them for things. I would like this. We need to speak about this. I want this. I want this. I want this. It becomes needy. Clients then think every time you contact them, you're just after their money, which is partly true, if we're brutally honest. But realistically, it goes back to helping the clients be the best they can be. If we can share good content with them, now that could be good independent content, say for a prostate cancer client. If we just published an article on prostate cancer, there's a good chance that the client may be interested in seeing that. Fire it to them in an email, and just let them know, thought it'd be of interest to you. If they learn something from that, which helps them, who are they going to think of next time they're looking for opportunities? If there's a competitor e-blast in breast cancer, in any area, and you think actually that could be helpful to one of my clients who are currently looking at the prospect of doing an e-blast, or they're currently looking at options of where to spend their cash, if you can send them some tangible results and a really, really good example, and there's loads of really good examples, if you look at SharePoint through product examples, if you can share that with them, and you're doing that in the proper way in terms of as an education standpoint, one, it helps people go onto that website for that client, which is good, but it also means that the client then, if they choose to do an e-blast, they've got some really good ideas. So they've got some understanding as to what might work for them, what other companies are doing, and sort of how they can follow suit on that. What was next? And that's for the commercial content, but that's also for the independent content. Right, how can you get other companies to basically send you leads? Easiest way to do this is, or send you angles I should say, is sign up to your bigger clients, press releases, sign up to their company news page. When there's big news on breast cancer, prostate cancer, whatever it is, the company, it's in their interest to send that out to you. When you receive that information, you then have a perfect angle. It's a proactive way of being able to be reactive, basically, because it means they're sending you key information, key angles, and then all you need to do is find the relevant person and pitch them that angle. It's as simple as that. What's next? Personal development. Right, if personal development is a huge part of EMJ, as you'll know by now, EMG I should say, but looking at the 2 million plan, what did you do last year? What did you do at your last job? What did you do in 2017 from a personal development perspective? What can you do which is an improvement, continuous improvement on your personal development? What events are you going to go to? What books are you going to read? What webinars are you going to attend? Who are you going to mentor? Who are you going to be a mentor for? Who are you going to look for to be your mentor? Who are you going, which focus groups are you going to join? What are you going to listen to? Where are you going to go really to become more educated, to become better? The more you look at that and the more you have this again factored into your default diary, it becomes a habit. And when something's a habit, it becomes easier. And then before you know it, you're improving on a much more rapid level than your competition. Now, the competition out there, is broad. It's different in each area, but the way we're angled at the moment, what we're trying to create here is basically an SAS of a sales team, an SAS for a client services team, SAS of all the different departments we have here, so that if someone ever comes knocking on the door saying, I would like a job with your company because I'm the best ever salesperson, we can say, no, we don't need it. We've already got a crack team of salespeople. We already have better than you. And that's only going to come through hard work and personal development, basically. Next was regular training sessions. We all need training. We all need training, and we all need regular training. So what are you going to do? Not just from a company training perspective, what are you going to do from an independent training perspective? Who are you going to teach what you've learned? Because that's the best way of really getting a true level of understanding of a particular topic. You read something, you learn something, it goes into your head, yes, to an extent. You may have forgotten most of it by the end of the week. If you do regularly learning, you retain more of that information. To take it to the next level, you then teach it to someone. They may have questions on this. The only way you can answer those questions confidently is if you have a full understanding of it. So think about that. What can you do on a daily basis to be teaching those who don't know as much on a particular topic about you, in order to be, from a selfish perspective, furthering yourself? Right. Next thing I put down was, I thought a really, really crucial one. I know we're doing this from a sales perspective at the moment, but I think this really goes back to everyone in the company could be doing this. Reviewing your own calls. So we come to work, we do our job, we get some feedback from supervisors, we review our challenges and successes, but how often do we actually sit back and look at a particular sales call that we've just done, rather than looking at it 2 weeks later, sitting back at the end of the day, listen to that sales call. What did I do well? What did I do poorly? What can I improve on? You do the same thing the day after, the same thing the day after. Before you know it, you are a million miles better than the person next to you, than the person in the other company who's fighting you for the budget from the Pfizer marketing director. So really think about that. And if you're watching this from a non-sales specific basis, what could you be reviewing on a day-to-day basis? Is it a call with a client? Is it a particular project? Is it the time you spent to do something? What could you be doing to give immediate feedback to yourself? This idea came from, the next idea is basically don't waste time on problematic clients. I think it came from reading Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley, which is a brilliant book. I'd recommend it to anyone. But it's about wasting time with those clients who don't see as much value in you as the other clients do. We all have those sort of clients, and we think, oh, well, we're going to work so hard to get them on, and they are problematic in the process. What generally happens then is we pass them over to someone, and they're still a pain in the backside. So be selective with these sort of clients. If you think, oh, these guys, whatever I do, we could bend over backwards, they're still going to be a pain in the backside, ditch them. We don't want to work with them. We only want to work with people who want to improve. They want to get better. They want to work closely with us and get really, really good results. But we don't want to try and bend over backwards to appease people who will never be happy. Join all of the client services calls. Client services do a great job in terms of looking after the clients. But on each of those calls they're having, particularly the briefing call and the medical writer calls, there's going to be 10, 15, 20 opportunities there where there's an upsell opportunity. And the upsell opportunity comes from where the client's a bit more laid back, they're discussing what their focuses are from a broader perspective. They haven't got their guard up because you're not trying to sell them something. But as soon as you start finding out what other congresses they're going to, what other products that they look after, how does the budget process work within their team, what are the big focuses for the next 6 months, when is their data coming out, as soon as you start to understand this, we can then provide them with a solution to add even more value to the product that they do at the moment. So that's a really, really crucial one. Only use social media for my own selfish purposes. rather than trying to do a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of this. If we try and use social media to do 1,000,001 different things, what we generally do is we don't do any of them particularly well. So have a think about social media. Why are you on it? What are you trying to gain from being on it? And any activity you have on there, make sure it's geared towards that goal. I mean, that goes for everything we do here. Whether it's, should I call another 10 companies? Should I spend the time doing this? Every time you're thinking of, shall I spend my time on this or shall I spend time on that? Think about what the end goal is. What am I actually looking to achieve this? What is my goals? What is the company's goals? They should be aligned, but am I spending the right time on the right amount, the right amount of time on the right thing? Right. Other things we can look at is basically having a timeline or having dates in the diary where you're actually going to be reviewing this. One of the biggest, I think, challenges, particularly when you go to business improvement conferences, business excellence shows, anything to do with personal development, is we go there, we write a load of action points as to the million things that we're actually going to do. What we generally do is we do one or two. We might buy a book, sits on the bookshelf, and then we never get around to it because the day-to-day takes over. So put a plan in place for this, but put a date in the diary every week, twice a week, however you want to do it, where you're actually sitting back from your day-to-day work and you're thinking, am I doing any of this? What am I going to focus on next week? What am I going to focus on next week? And hold yourself accountable. If you don't do that, you won't do this and you won't double your targets. As simple as that. Packages. What can we offer clients? What are the standard packages? What are the bigger packages? How can we put together a package for a client, not only that suits their needs perfectly, but gives them that gravitas of the only platinum sponsor, the only gold sponsor, there's only 2 silver sponsors. If you add weight to it and you add a bit of gravitas to it, there's a good chance clients are going to buy into that. If you believe in it, buy into it as quick as possible, and you're then booking them off straight after a congress rather than trying to chase them 2-3 weeks before a congress is taking place for a symposium review or an advert. It's bigger picture stuff again. So think about the campaign as soon as the congress is finished and get onto these clients with these packages, with these ideas, rather than waiting till the end. What else have we got? Look at the competition. What's our USPs against the competition? One of the big things I've learned over the last few months is how important it is to have eBlast going out just once a week. So much of our competition is pinging these out on a daily, hourly, every 2-hour basis to clients. What's really going to be the impact of that when they go out? If we're doing just one per therapy area per week, that's going to have a huge impact. Look at our audience. Our audience is larger, our readership, I should say, larger than most of those companies who call themselves competition. You suddenly put in a 10, 15, 20% open rate on some of these eBlasts, you look at the impact they're going to have. Make sure you're armed with this information when you're speaking to these clients, and it's an easy way of handling objections and moving the proposal forward. What are the things we can add to, what are the bonuses we can offer clients in order to push a no into a yes or pull a no into a yes? Look at things like job adverts. Our clients trying to recruit at the moment. Is there something we can do in tandem with EMC to add a bit of value there? Small little upsells like banner advertising and things like that. In the grand scheme of things, if we can put packages together which are beneficial to clients and serving their goals, then it's a no-brainer that you're going 10% further with the client. They're gonna buy into it. Yeah, and that's really it. So it's looking at these ideas. It's looking at not just what your territory is, but if let's say you're on urology at the moment. Now you've got EAU. EAU is great. EAU is a really, really fantastic congress. There is millions of pounds of opportunity there. But if your clients are going to EAU and you've booked them in for an advert, what else are they doing for the rest of the year? They're not sitting out scratching their arse for the rest of the year. They're sitting there, they're planning EAU, they're going to EAU, then they're going somewhere else. Where are they going? You want to know where they're going, why they're going there, what they're doing there. If you know that, you can then start putting the package around it, doing the e-blast in front of it, doing a KOL article to be published at the Congress. We can hand it out as reprints, yada, yada, yada. What are they doing after that? we don't want to be selling one or two products to a client. We want to be selling them a full package, because a full package is going to allow us to serve the client properly, to build proper rapport with the client, to truly understand what they're doing, and then we can work with them all year round. We become that one person, that go-to place for that particular client, which all feeds into obviously the ultimate goal of being the go-to place for healthcare professionals. So have a think, go through this list, aim big with your goals this year in terms of your revenue goals. Forget the targets. The targets are there because that's what we need to hit from a company to grow. If we hit those targets, when we hit those targets, we'll have money to grow. We will grow. You will have more opportunities as long as you're showing the values and you're hitting your own revenue targets. But put that aside, think of the bigger picture after 5 o'clock. What are you doing between 5 and 8 in order to elevate yourself from doing 500 grand to doing 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 million? What's the impact of that extra 900 grand for just an extra 2.5 hours work a day? What's the impact of being a bit more proactive going to be on your salary at the end of the year, on your bonus at the end of the year? What's the impact going to be from a company perspective of all 10, 15, 20 salespeople doubling their revenue? You're going to have suddenly, we're going to get to become the go-to place for healthcare professionals a lot quicker. You're going to be part of that development, which means that realistically, you're going to have a first opportunity of being the sales director in a particular division, the head of accounts for Pfizer, the head of the new sales academy we're looking at doing. So think about this as you're going through it. Put a plan together, run it past me, and make it happen. Good luck. Any questions? Come and ask me.